The scene is after the departure of Mitch and Stella from the main story, focusing on the main conflict of the play, Stanley and Blatch. Blatch continues talking about the lies she's used to telling everyone, while Stanley, who has despised Blatch since the beginning, tears her insecurities down, one by one, then proceeds to rape Blatch. Some weeks later, Stanley and everyone else from the town call a doctor to take Blatch away. Stella is in shame of what she allowed them to do to her, but understands there is no other way. Blatch is taken away, while the men continue to play cards. The reason I choose the part of the whole play is because it's the climax of the play. It's a release of all the build-up from the previous scenes. The argument between Blatch and Stanley and the ending of everyone letting Blatch go is the most important and interesting part to me. I don't think Blatch is a bad character, or to be more specific, a character you should dislike. Blatch is a mix of wish to be in a higher class and self-insecurities. She is a character with flaws and rich characteristics. The scene where Stanley starts staring her imagination down is Blatch at her most vulnerable point. It reminds her of what she isn't and what she wants to run away from. I pity her because she can't accept herself for who she really is. Instead, has to create a completely different backstory to escape from her past. But I can also understand where she is coming from. In a way, we all have a Blatch in us. Sometimes we're afraid to reveal ourselves to people when entering a new environment. I think Stanley's cruel attack, both verbally and physically, is just a result of a lack of empathy. Stanley is bad for his behavior, but I don't think the story wants us to think he is the sole villain of the story. In scene 11, when the doctor comes to take Blatch to the asylum, everyone in the room agrees on the action, including Blatch's sister Stella. I think the focus on Stella is the interesting part. The story indicates Blatch clearly had talked to Stella about Stanley's assault on her, but in the end Stella still allows the doctor and nurse to take her away. Maybe from the evidence of previous scenes, it's reasonable to think Stella can't believe Blatch anymore from all the lies she had told, but I think this time she is the one that tells the lie. She said she couldn't believe Blatch's story and go on living with Stanley, which means she does believe Blatch. She just lies to herself that she doesn't. Stella's reaction, I think, directly connects with the landscape elements of the play. Landscape is not just the view of the place, it's the whole thing. The people, the culture, and the entire environment. And this is the environment of the time and the place they're in. A world controlled by men. Stella has to tell herself that lie, or else she would have nowhere to go. She would be like Blatch, a lonely woman who's insecure about herself and has to seek others' approval in order to find a roof to live under. She needs to worry while the men just continue to play cards and pretend like nothing had happened. She can't stand up for her sister nor herself because she does not have the same power that they own. Blatch says she always relies on the kindness of strangers. It's not because the strangers are actually kind, it's because of her sex appeal. The kindness that comes from desire, not heart. That is the environment they live in, relying on men's power to survive or to be abandoned. It's not that they don't want to step up for themselves, it's that the world does not allow them to. Why fight a war that you can't win? A Streetcar Named Desire is a tragedy in the culture of a time period, a tragedy of self-insecurity and the lack of equal rights, a tragedy of wanting to climb up to a higher class and despise the lower class. Maybe we can still see parts of it now. No matter how the world has progressed, I think stories like this still needs to exist, because inequality is never going to go away. As long as there is inequality, we need stories like this to educate us, to have more empathy, to be better. And that's it for my video. Thank you for listening.